Everybody took a hit, businesses, personal lives. So without further ado, let Temple take over. Hi, Temple.
Hi, how are you doing, Tara?
Welcome to Pick 42.
Thank you for having me.
And just a little bit, I want to talk about a life coach, and then I'm going to jump back to COVID because that's my purpose of here being here today.
Hmm.
Um, a life coach. When people say life coaches, they think about TV life coaches like Anna Van Zant.
Yeah.
Okay, but you are a real life coach for the real world. Not like Anna Van Zant do spiritual and different stuff, not to downplay hers, but as a life coach, what do you do? You
I am a life and leadership coach. And so what I do is I support people and basically living the life of their dreams. What are those goals and ideas and thoughts that come to your mind? And you're like, wow, this would really be great if I could do this. And then the next thing you know, your mind will start telling you why you're not able to do it, why it's going to be hard, why you may need to think twice, three, four times again. And then for the average individual, they'll say, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. And or they will move forward and do it. However, it may be a struggle the entire time because there's so many other things that are happening and they're trying to figure out how to move forward. So in the end, shout out to Ayana because she is very good at what she does. But no, I'm not there is no the entertainment aspect is not here. However, but the content of what she shares as a coach, for the most part, that's what some of us do. So it's about you living the life of your dreams and how can you focus and center yourself so that all of your energy is actually supporting you.
right. Okay, so I had a dialogue with you. I had the opportunity to have a dialogue with you, and when I first had a dialogue with you, the first time I was like, I don't need a life coach. A life coach, like I go to church, girl. I believe in God. Like that's my life coach, but I don't need a life coach. But then I had to realize He put people here when we need you.
Mhm.
And so after having a dialogue with you, I realized that I had derailed away from some of my dreams.
Mm.
And you helped me to refocus. After COVID, my business took a hit. Personally, I took a hit. And I'm sure there's people everywhere that took a hit. And I don't want to say after COVID because COVID is still going on right now.
True.
As a matter of fact, we have a COVID-19 clinic coming up for February the 25th.
Mhm.
So right here at Pick 42, 158 South Main Street, we're going to have a COVID vaccine clinic. And everybody's welcome to come. So COVID is still out here, and but we are still living in the 2020 COVID, like
Mhm.
the fear of it, and how do I get back on track? And so you took me back to the beginning.
Mhm. Mhm.
The reason why I went in business to start off with, the reason why I decided to do this and that helped me realize that I had veered off track,
Mhm.
I had derailed, and I needed you to point out to me. You pulled out of me what was inside of me.
Yes.
That's the best way for me to say it.
Yes.
You pulled out what was there. But I didn't realize that because you got to be receptive.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, I wasn't receptive. I was like, no, I was no. But then when I stopped and I listened, it really blessed me. It really helped me to realize that I was really off track and I needed to refocus. COVID-19, we are not at the endemic. We are still in a pandemic. We are. And people are still anticipating what's next. Or, it's scary. It's scary. It's still scary. We're still masking up. And so, as a life coach, you know, after you already took a hard hit and your business took a hit, I know there's techniques that you can use to help people get back on track.
Yes.
So, can you just talk a little bit about getting back on track during a pandemic?
Yes. So, Tara, you're absolutely correct. I don't know anyone who has been untouched by COVID. COVID has literally changed the world that we know upside down. We are in a new place in space now, and all of us are trying to figure out how do we move forward with life because life is no longer what it used to be. The life that I had before COVID is very different now. The way I
Yes.
move in the world is different now. Even the way in which I relate with people is different now because of what's happened. And what has happened to you has happened to many people that have businesses. People have experienced loss in their lives, loss of people. People have experienced loss in terms of financially. So, how do we move forward and go from there?
Right.
And as a coach, thank you so much for sharing your experience, because what I do is I am a reflection of you. So the more open you are, the better able I am to reflect back to you who you are.
Right.
And the beauty of that is that as a coach, it's very similar to what athletic coaches do, like NBA coaches. They support their team and what their players in seeing, hey, here's your blind spot.
Right.
I can't coach, I can't do what you do better than you.
Right.
You are the expert on that.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're in it. So when you're doing something, just like when the players are playing basketball, when if they're trying to do something, work with their teammate or interact with the other team in a different type of way, the coach is able to say, "Hey, when you're doing that, this is actually what you're doing. When you are trying to interact with the other team guard or whatever, this is actually what you're doing." And the player
Absolutely.
doesn't know it because they're in it.
Right.
And
So working with you was like for me having an out of body experience. Like I was seeing actually what I was missing
Mhm.
through you. So you're
Yeah.
right. It's a reflection. I like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so as we connect that to COVID, right?
Right.
For those of us that, I mean, I can speak for myself. I mean, I went through a depression, I mean, associated with COVID. How do we move forward? And as a coach, what we do is we support people in how do you create the life that you want to have,
Right.
right? So let's be clear, there are mental health professionals here to help us with what's happened in the past and our
Right.
emotions that's happened in the past, and helping us regulate that. As a coach, I'm here to support you with your future and how do you want to live your life. So for people who have experienced that, the question is if you were to sit down right now, what is that one thing that you've always had a lot of energy around? And it could be for most people there, we have multiple ideas that circulate in our mind, and it's like, okay, which one is going to be the lucky one that we're going to choose today? And then for we choose that one, what is the small sweet step that you can make today or within the next couple of days that will get you closer to that goal or that dream? I say that because recently I am in the January edition of Diversity Works magazine, and I wrote an article about small, sweet steps.
Yes.
And that when you have your small, sweet steps mixed with gratitude, that is how you are creating the life that you want. And
Right.
so we have to remember Rome was not built in a day. Mullins was not created in a day. Pick
Absolutely.
42 was not created in a day. But what
Absolutely.
was done was those small, sweet steps to get you where you want to be. And in conjunction with that, if you're working with a coach, all of us have moments when we're dealing with life and we don't even know we're off track. And let's be clear, this lady here, highly, highly successful. When she told me everything that she does for the community, I had to sit back and take a breath myself, because I'm like, my gosh, what do you not do? Okay? Because she does it all. There are many people who are like you, highly successful people, people who have a vision for themselves, people who are dedicated to supporting their community, supporting their family, and you have all these wonderful ideas and you've worked on them and created them. And then how do you continue to be able to focus your energy so that you can actually magnify your success and take it higher? So then you're able to do more. How do you bring out the best in you?
Purpose. My
Mhm.
purpose. I go back to my purpose. I didn't just try to figure out what's my purpose. My purpose found me.
Mm.
So it was to serve the community and to serve the people. And that's why I love about Pick 42. We serve our community.
Mhm.
And so with that being said, uh, we serve our community in different aspects and we do many different things. And for Pick 42, I'm the healthcare ambassador. And so, yes, I like to have the health clinics available for my community because the vaccine is a herd community, herd immunity. So I like to have it available for the people in my community.
Mhm.
As the numbers rise, I want to remind the people out there that we do have a COVID-19 clinic set up for February the 25th, and you are more than welcome to come. Please come. Tell everybody that you can. to come to Pick 42, 158 South Main Street, Mullins. And there is life during a pandemic. There is life during a pandemic. We could put our pieces back together. And like I said, I didn't know I was derailed. I talked to a life coach and I was totally against it. But then I went to see me. Then I went back and say, well, I don't know where I got off track, but somehow I got off track. So I'm trying to write this book, but yet I keep getting distracted. I keep getting distracted, and then I put the book down. But you reminded me, consistency, to write a little bit every day. And that helped me to get further in my book. So as a life coach, it have really helped me to get back on track, even if it is during a pandemic.
And on that, there's a particular person that I coach. This person, well-known, well-established, highly successful individual, professor. And in the end, he was in a position in his career where he could literally do whatever he wanted to do. However, he was a little confused. He wasn't really sure about what he wanted to do. The issue was not the ability. The question was, what do I do? And so we had a conversation and we talked about, well, what is your ideal career? And he shared that with me. And he said, well, the people that I know that have done it, they did not do well. As a matter of fact, they failed and failed miserably. So there was some fear associated with that.
Right.
And so we talked about that. And I said, well, if you already know what not to do, then maybe you can be a pioneer about what to do. And so after that session, I gave him a few assignments. And then he went and came back at our next session and he said, wow, do you know there are actually people who are out here who are doing this and they have been around me the entire time and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
And coaching will do that. It will help you be able to see additional possibilities and things that were around you the whole entire time and you didn't even know it.
Absolutely.
So then from there, we continued to talk more. And then he said, well, I'm just so uncertain. I'm not sure. And I said, well, what are you uncertain about? Because as a coach, I'm trained to hear certain things.
Right.
And so we talked more about that. And the outcome for him was when COVID hit, he had a team that he was responsible for at his institution. And the outcome of it was he was so busy taking care of them and their needs that he did not take care of himself.
Right.
And the outcome is that he was transferring his feelings and his experience with COVID to other areas of his life.
Right.
And so when that was revealed to him, if he could have written me a check for $1 million, he would have done that because he had absolutely no idea. Because again, he's doing it, he's in it, he's, operating. And like I said, I mean, this is a person who, when we're reading about new information on cancer, this is the guy who found it.
Yes.
So this is someone who, in my mind, he's up here, right?
Yes.
And for him to be in a place where, hey, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my career. And when he realized that, all of a sudden, how he decided to move forward was no longer a confusion.
Yes.
And he realized, okay, I need to take care of myself as it relates to some things with COVID. But now that that's clear, I know what I want to do with my career. And now he is soaring. And so that's just a prime example of how COVID-19 has affected the best of us.
It has. It has. Well, thank you so much for coming today, Temple. You have shared so much good information for all of us. And hey, you never know. You might need a life coach. Temple Robinson, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, let me show you. If you want to connect with me, I'd be glad to have a conversation with you to see how I can support you and live in the life of your dreams. You may reach me at www.templerobinson.com. And that is spelled like temple, like church, TEMPLEROBINSON. I'll be glad to have a conversation with you and to see how I can support you. And in addition to that, I also support organizations that want to have a really strong transformational experience for their staff. I can also support you in that, and so that your organization is able to meet your organizational goals with more clarity, focus, ease, and grace.
Thank you, everybody. Temple Robinson.
Thank you.